Let's go.
Defining the concept coercive persuasion. Brainwashing is not a scientific term but a lay descriptor for coercive persuasion or thought reform. It is the systematic, sustained application of psychological pressure designed to fundamentally destabilize an individual's core identity and replace their existing beliefs, values, and loyalties with a new, mandated ideology. Goal: to dismantle the pre-existing self and install a new, compliant self. Controversy: the term implies a complete and irreversible erasure of personality, which is scientifically disputed. Experts prefer coercive persuasion because it acknowledges that some psychological defenses and underlying personality traits remain. Mechanism: exploits natural human needs for certainty, belonging, and emotional stability to force radical change. 2. Isolation and creating dependency. The process begins by severing the individual's ties to their external reality and support systems, making them psychologically vulnerable and solely reliant on the group or controller. Physical isolation. The subject is physically removed from family, friends, work, and familiar environments, e.g., being held captive, moving into a secluded commune. This prevents external validation of their original identity. Psychological isolation. The controller introduces the idea that the outside world is dangerous, corrupted, or ignorant, making the subject view their previous supporters as enemies or threats. Dependency. The subject is made completely dependent on the controller for basic needs, food, shelter, and emotional validation, thus amplifying the controller's power to punish or reward. 3. Monopolization of communication and reality. This phase involves controlling all incoming information to ensure the subject hears only the group's message, creating an epistemological bubble. Information control. Access to news, books, internet, and critical opinions is strictly limited or censored. Any contradictory information is labeled as propaganda or lies. Continuous indoctrination. The ideology is relentlessly repeated through lectures, chants, reading materials, and group discussions. This repetition bypasses critical thinking and embeds the doctrine directly into the subject's subconscious. Language barrier. The group often employs unique jargon or specific language, making it difficult for the subject to articulate their old ideas or communicate effectively with outsiders. 4. Inducing physical and mental exhaustion. The intentional use of stress and fatigue is crucial for lowering cognitive resistance and impairing judgment. A tired mind is a receptive mind. Sleep deprivation. Rest is restricted or controlled. This is highly effective in weakening the will and making emotional states unstable. Nutritional deprivation. Poor or monotonous diet contributes to physical weakness and mental fog. Overload. The subject is subjected to intense schedules, long hours of labor, or continuous meetings/rituals that prevent time for personal reflection or critical analysis. 5. Degradation and guilt induction. The core identity is broken down by instilling intense feelings of shame, failure, and guilt over past life choices, making the individual desperate for the new identity. Self-denunciation. Subjects are pressured to publicly confess and criticize their former life, beliefs, and associates' sins. This is often done in front of the group. Public shaming. Value inversion. Their previous positive traits, e.g., skepticism, ambition, are redefined as flaws, e.g., arrogance, selfishness. Manufactured guilt. The subject is made to feel personally responsible for the world's problems or the group's failures, compelling them to work harder and comply to make amends. 6. The promise of salvation, the golden ring. Once the subject is broken and vulnerable, the new ideology is introduced as the only solution to their manufactured despair, offering peace, truth, or enlightenment. The psychological vacuum. The combination of isolation, exhaustion, and guilt creates a psychological vacuum, a desperate need for a solution or a source of stability. The path. The group or leader is presented as the exclusive holder of the truth, the only way to escape the evil or flawed state they've been convinced they are in. Immediate relief. Compliance brings immediate, powerful relief from the pressure, reinforcing the idea that the new path is correct and the pain was necessary. 7. Love bombing and group validation, positive reinforcement. This technique uses highly concentrated positive reinforcement to anchor the subject to the group and its beliefs, rewarding compliant behavior. Initial hook. New recruits are overwhelmed with affection, compliments, and attention. love bombing, creating an intense, positive emotional high that is strongly associated with the group. Conditional approval, love and acceptance become conditional on adherence to the doctrine. Compliance brings praise, warmth, and inclusion. Questioning brings coldness and isolation. Shared identity. The sense of shared mission, purpose, and community becomes a powerful new source of identity and belonging, replacing the one that was broken down. 8. Logical manipulation and circular reasoning. The group's ideology is protected from critical challenge by employing specific, self-sealing logical structures that reject external evidence. Thought-stopping techniques, use of phrases, chants, or loaded language to instantly shut down critical analysis. Doubt is of the devil. If you don't feel it, you're not trying hard enough. Circular logic. The doctrine proves the doctrine. For example, the prophet's words are true because they are in the sacred text, and the sacred text is true because the prophet said it was. Rejection of proof. Any verifiable evidence that contradicts the ideology is dismissed as a test of faith, a lie, or a misunderstanding caused by the subject's own imperfection. 9. Creating the new, compliant identity. This is the phase where the reprogramming is cemented. The subject's entire focus and motivation shift to serving the group and maintaining the new self. Behavioral alignments, new rituals, dress codes, speech patterns, and daily routines are adopted, all reflecting the new identity. Internalization. The subject begins to genuinely believe the new ideas, seeing the world through the group's lens and actively defending it. They become the agent of their own control. Fear of loss. A new fear emerges, the terror of losing the group's approval, or of returning to the flawed self. This fear enforces continued compliance. 10. Deprogramming and rehabilitation. Exiting a coercive environment and recovering from the effects of thought reform is a long, difficult process, often requiring professional help. Exit counseling. The first step is physically removing the individual from the controlling environment and subjecting them to a supportive, non-coercive setting. Restoring critical thinking. Therapy focuses on re-establishing the individual's ability to think critically, process information logically, and make independent judgments without fear of punishment. Reintegration. Helping the survivor reconnect with their authentic self, re-establish healthy relationships, and cope with the trauma, shame, and loss of the life they invested in the group. This often involves treating PTSD-like symptoms.